This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Oh, hello there. Very nice to meet you.
Well, let's get back to it.
Storm Kieran has claimed 5 more lives as record-breaking rainfall produced floods that hit a vast swathe of Tuscany, wherever that is. As Storm Kieran pushed into Italy, it trapped residents in their homes, inundating hospitals and overturning cars. And as usual, there is no good sentence that contains the word swathes. Nearly 8 inches of rain fell in 3 hours, flooding the River Arno. Dramatic scenes showed dozens of cars getting pushed down the road by a gushing, muddy current. It says in the Mail, not muddy waters, that's something else.
Rock and roll!
There was a wave of water bombs without precedence, the governor of Tuscany said. Meanwhile, one of the most iconic stretches of Britain's coastline suffered a huge rockfall after being hit by 30-foot waves, strong winds and torrential rain from the very same Storm Kieran. A 100-foot wide section of the 150-foot sandstone cliffs at West Bay in Dorset gave way and collapsed onto the beach last night. More than 300 tons of rocks and boulders were estimated to have fallen onto the empty beach. It comes as southern England has been urged to brace for more heavy rain and flooding tomorrow after the Met Office issued a 19-hour weather warning, of which they said,
emergency, everybody to get from street. Emergency, everybody to get from street.
The alert now covers London, Sussex, Hampshire, Kent, Surrey, Cornwall, Devon, Dorset, Somerset and Wiltshire, which sounds like everywhere to me.
Oh, no.
More than 340 areas of Britain are on flood watch after the country was battered by 104-mile-an-hour winds and up to 3 inches of rain during the storm yesterday. Floods Minister Rebecca Powell said, "There's a Floods Minister? And it's me? How am I doing?"
Oh, fabulous.
All this brings the threat of difficult driving conditions, so you were advised to turn up your stereo and drive really close to the car in front, flashing your lights and honking your horn. Of course, if you're in an Audi, you'll already be doing this.
Thank you.
A further yellow rain warning is in place for southern England tomorrow from 5 a.m. in the morning until the end of the day. This warns of up to 40 millimetres of rain, and I will translate European surrender millimetres to His Majesty's feet. It's perfectly simple. An idiot could do it. You simply double it now 32, so double 40 is 80, and 80 plus 32 is 122. Wow, there's going to be 122 feet of rain tomorrow. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Of course, it will mean that rail services across the UK will face major disruption. You won't be able to notice the difference.
Correct.
But don't worry, because none of this is the result of global warming, because people with billions of pounds invested in oil and gas companies told us so. Tonight, rain. Tomorrow, rain. The outlook for Sunday to Tuesday, rain. Would you like to hear the long-range forecast for the rest of the month?
No.
I don't blame you. Right. I'm just going to do the first 2 weeks of November, because after that, it's not that great. I mean, it's not that great the first 2 weeks, but we'll just stick to the next 2 weeks, shall we? I mean, once you get past 2 weeks, weather forecast, meteorologists, they say they got no idea. So the next 2 weeks, unsettled conditions are expected to extend through the first half of November with further furry periods of rain. Can you believe that? It's going to get furry. Furry periods of rain and strong winds. But as we move onwards, there is the possibility of slightly more settled, drier conditions developing for parts of the country. The possibility of slightly more settled and drier conditions developing for parts of the country? We'll take it. Adrian says, evening, Nick. Wow, the Beatles have a new single out. It's very good. The Stones have recently released an album. It is beyond brilliant. It is. I can't stop playing it. Since the Stones released that album, I barely played another thing. I just can't stop playing that album over and over and over again. I've got an earworm of almost all of the tracks. It's on like heavy repeat in my brain. But normally earworms are very, very annoying. They'll be, my boy lollipop, bum, 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 like that. And you'll probably get that earworm now. You're welcome. But these aren't annoying earworms. These are great. Adrian says, you could think you have been transported back in time to a much better era. And then you remember that Titchy Rishi and his clown show are in charge of the country, and reality kicks in. Damn it! Yeah, that's right. Damned reality. God, the stuff we've been learning about them this week. Good grief. Well, I'll get into that in a minute. 0345 6060 973. I have detailed files.
Affirmative.
Fleet. James.
Hello, Nick.
Yes, sir.
I just want to talk about a couple of things that came out of that cosy chat between Fishy and his new mate Elon.
A couple or three things. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, man of the people, Fishy, said he wants people to be unafraid to give up security of a regular paycheck and be comfortable with failure. Now, he's absolutely nailed being comfortable with failure.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he is an expert in not achieving anything, yes.
They've not done quite so well on giving up the security of the regular paycheck.
I mean, he's got to be kidding me. That passed me by. He actually said that out loud. You can give up the security of a regular paycheck and what? Just rely on the kindness of companies?
Yeah. So who's footing the bill?
Who's footing the
bill?
Who's footing what bill?
The bill of their regular paycheck. And when do you think they'll get full marks on that? The two parts of that question.
What was the question again? I'm sorry, I was staring out the window thinking of double football and how to avoid it. Yeah. All right, good work. Thanks a lot, James. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Hannah says, Fishy looked like a kid in a candy store hanging out with the richest man in the world. That's what he likes most, hanging out with other billionaires while the country is in tatters. What planet is he on? Planet Wealthy. The money that Fishy brought to the proceedings, though, is the kind of amount that Elon Musk would find in the ashtray of one of his cars. I rode in one of his cars for the first time the other day. I've seen them. I mean, they're blooming everywhere, those things, those Teslas, but I've never actually been inside one. First of all, I couldn't figure out how to get in. It arrived as a cab. Yeah, that's right. I'm a taxi sort of person, but only when the company is paying. And otherwise I'm on the bus. But this thing arrived, and I'm like fumbling about because it arrived in the dark. Oh God! Well, everything's in the dark these days, isn't it? And like noon, it's pretty much dark. Anyway, this thing arrived in the dark, and I'm fumbling around the rear of the car trying to find the handle. There was no blooming handle. The guy had to come out and open the blooming car for me. How embarrassing is that? Try putting a handle on the back of your car there, Elon Musk, you idiot. But I'd never been inside. Like, I peered in the window, and it looks... what's the word I'm looking for what it looks like inside?
Boring!
Yeah, really, really boring. I mean, it looks sort of like a car inside, but not really. It's like one of those child's toys, and got no controls. Where are the buttons? Where are the buttons and the switches and the knobs? Ain't got none. It's got a big screen. And I thought, that'll work. Yeah, sure. Put all of the controls on a big screen. And then for most of the time, I would imagine the person who's doing the driving is not looking out the window. The front window, whatever that's called. The windscreen. The windscreen. Yes. Because if he wants to turn the stereo up, he's got to be fumbling about on the screen. And if he wants to turn the window wipers on, he's got to be fumbling about on the screen. I would imagine, I've got absolutely no idea. It looked like he was fumbling about on the screen for almost the entire time we were driving. And it's got a video of us going past things, which, of course, isn't in any way distracting. I was lucky to arrive alive. And it's just so dull in there. I mean, I don't really quite what I want from a car, but a little pizzazz, a little bit of something. It didn't seem to have anything. It seemed as though somebody had gone in there and took all of the thing out, It was just a bit dull. But the one thing I did notice, the seats are so comfortable. I mean, just extraordinarily good. They cosseted just so. And I arrived fresh. Other than that, I don't want one. But plus, there is that sort of sense of there is no animal in the machine. It's all ghosts, because it doesn't make no sound. There's no vroom of the engine. It just sort of, it makes as much sound still as it does when it's going, which I find a bit disconcerting. Apart from anything else. I mean, you're used to I'm used to my car sort of shaking about when it's and I'm. If only this was on television, you'd see me shaking about just then, like I'm doing the disco dancing. I'm used to a car when it sits at a red light, just kind of like shaking about a bit, like sort of like doing a bit of a jiggle, which gives you the comfort of knowing that it's still on. But you stop in one of those things, and everything just falls silent. And you have absolutely no idea, if you press the pedal, whether anything's going to happen. I suppose that concern dissipates over time, but I'm not a big fan. Not really. Apart from the seats, which were excellent. And the driver was very good too. He didn't put it on autopilot at all. Which was, I appreciate that. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you not putting it on autopilot and it drives into a tree. Luke says it was an interesting idea to trial robot-to-robot communication at an AI summit. Who invited Fishy and Elon Musk? Literal robots. You might as well invite Arnold Schwarzenegger at this point.
Affirmative.
Yeah, that's right. Come on, do it. I should restate, while we're talking about him, that the Netflix documentary about Arnold Schwarzenegger is excellent. It's in 3 parts. Part 1 is him doing the steroidal muscle thing. I swear, him and me with our shirts off, we're practically twins. It's almost impossible to tell us apart. And then they do the actor part.
Correct.
And then the politician part. It's very, very good. I commend it to the House. I'm giving you homework. 03, and I want a full report on my desk first thing Monday morning, or you'll get it. It will hurt me a lot more than it hurts you.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
You've got a good, your mind is a little bit, you know what I mean, three-dimensional.
No, I have absolutely no idea what you mean, hippie. Tom says, I still don't know how these Tory politicians can look the British public in the eye and say, we've done nothing wrong. I didn't think such a level of ignorance existed. I was wrong, says Tom. Well, I tell you what gets my goat is all of the people that at the time said of Boris Johnson, oh, leave him alone. He's doing his best. God, bet you feel pretty stupid now, don't you? Doing his best. He wasn't doing his... Well, if he was doing his best, then we're lucky to be alive. But he wasn't doing his best by us, was he? He was thinking at any given moment of the day or night, what is the most pleasure I can get from any given situation? Should be in jail. But, of course, people like him don't go to jail, do they? They go to the House of Lords. I'm amazed he's not in there already. I'm surprised he didn't elevate himself so he could spend more time with that 12-year-old girl that he elevated to the House of Lords, whatever her name is. You know, that pre-teen who has chalked up so many successes in her life that would mean that she would be a reasonable candidate to sit in and make laws for the rest of us for her entire life from this moment on. You know, all of the things that she's chalked up in her life, like, the things that she's managed to do, like, I've got no idea. 0345 6060 973. Merthyr Tydfil. Hello, Jeff. Jeff? Oh, see, it would be better if I actually put him in the right place. I'm putting you in your place, Jeff. There you are.
Right. Very disturbed this week. I've just come back from the Canary Islands, where they...
The Canary Islands? Did you see any?
30 kilometres an hour, just about everywhere.
What is?
Speed limit.
Oh.
Which 30 kilometres an hour is less than 20 miles an hour.
Is it?
Yeah. Apparently it's all over Europe as well.
But the Canary Islands is only about, what, like half a mile wide, I think, something like that?
Yeah, you haven't got long to go.
Yeah, exactly. You barely be able to get up to 20 mile an hour before you have to come to a screeching halt or you fall off the end of it.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the point being that
There's a point.
As far as I can tell from a distance.
From a distance. Get Bette Midler on the phone right now, I mean it. What?
The Conservative Party are solely concerned with trying to attack, personally, the Labour Party. They have no policy. They know they're finished.
Yeah.
And so they're having a go. You're not wearing a poppy.
You can set your watch by it. That argument comes around every single year at this point. Yes, people are trying to out-poppy each other.
Yeah, and when we get in, we're going to get rid of the 20 mile an hour.
Yeah.
There's no question. This is all Labour.
Right.
So there's been a poll. There's been a poll study in the old coalfields, South Wales valleys, okay? Do you know how many people are intending to vote in the next election?
Let me guess.
And one?
Is it one?
Not much more. 24%.
24% of people in your area are going to...
Are intending to vote.
Oh, my God.
It's going to be a disaster.
Morons, Jeff. We're surrounded by morons.
Exactly.
I mean, what do they want? A lollipop?
And just to reassure you that Fossafran, remember Fossafran?
Yes, this giant scar on the earth in beautiful South Wales, where they're apparently digging up coal about a year after their legal permit expired.
Correct. Well, it's still going strong. It's due to finish on November the 17th.
Right. Well,
Whether
believe it when I see it, yeah.
And
of course, they're going to put the countryside all back together again, aren't they? It'll look beautiful when they finish.
Yes, it's only going to cost £120 million to fill the hole in.
Yeah. And
guess what?
We're paying.
There's no money in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's right. We're paying for it. God, we are such mugs in this country. Honestly, we really are. But never mind. They're doing their best. Hey, Jeff. By the way, what was the weather like in the Canary Islands?
Well, it did rain one day.
But apart from that?
It was hot and sunny.
OK, well, thanks a lot, mate, but we don't wish to know that. Cheers, Jeff. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, everybody's competing with each other about how patriotic they are. Look, I bought my poppy early. Look, I've just made a little video I'll stick on Twitter trying to shame other politicians for not wearing a poppy, and I'm sporting last year's poppy. Anybody see that? Yeah, quite. What a phony. I'd be more impressed with the government's insistence on everybody wearing poppies when there aren't so many veterans who are sleeping on our streets. At that point, they can get back to me and tell me how patriotic they are. What an absolute shout. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Edward texts, I have just seen the front page of tomorrow's Financial Times Weekend. Have you? Financial Times Weekend. What is that? Is that a magazine? Or do they actually call it the Financial Times Weekend? Because if they just call it the Financial Times Weekend, it's a bit lazy, isn't it? What, you can't do Saturday and Sunday? Business people, what, do they all lapse into a coma at the weekend, do they? Anyway, he says, I've just seen the front page of tomorrow's FT Weekend. Quotes, Braverman seeks to curb rough sleepers by restricting... There's nothing funny about it. But if you had to guess what she was going to say next, it would probably approximate this. Quotes, Braverman seeks to curb rough sleepers by restricting use of tents on the streets. Yeah. Not giving them a place to go, just removing what little shelter they already have. Edward says, just when you thought she couldn't get any worse. Oh, I think that she can probably get a lot worse than this. I think there's probably a bottomless pit of worse with that woman. I honestly don't know what this country has done to deserve this. Like, I really don't. I wish I could remember, because it must have been great. I mean, it must have been off the scale naughty, don't you think, to deserve this ongoing punishment. It's like getting lashed morning, noon and night. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Mick says, the Beatles' new thing, where is the boring noise? Just sounds like any old John Lennon dirge. Stones rock. Stones do rock. I heard it once, and I thought that it was good. I mean, it didn't blow my mind, but then it was a perfectly pleasant song. I mean, I would probably want to hear it a couple more times for it to actually sink in, but I heard it all the way through once, and I thought, well, that's quite nice. The Rolling Stones album, on the other hand, is just off the scale fantastic. It's become one of my favourite albums of all time. It's like straight away. It is one of the... Now, I'm not going to get into... Well, it's not as good as Goat's Head Soup. You know, we don't have to... It doesn't have to be a competition, but in the category of the Stones' best albums, their last album is in it. Most definitely. No question about it. And that track that they do with Lady Gaga... oh, it is... incredible. It really is. And the other thing about it is how long... I mean, apart from the journey through the album, whoever put the tracks in that order is a raving genius. But it's the length of the thing. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because people like me, people of a certain age, they grew up listening to albums that are about 40 minutes long, because that's what you could squeeze on vinyl, unless you were Todd Rundgren, in which case you managed to somehow get another 10 minutes. How he did it, nobody knows. But about 40 minutes long, I mean, all of the best albums that have ever been made, and I'm taking no exception or argument about this, they're all about 40 minutes long. Dark Side of the Moon is about 40 minutes long. And that's what they did. They made it album size, so you could sell it as a vinyl copy without dropping any tracks off. And I think it's the perfect length for an album. You know, when CDs came in, and you could squeeze like 1 hour 10 or 15, whatever it was, bands thought, well, we better fill it, because otherwise people will feel shortchanged. No, editing is the thing. I mean, if they just chucked whatever other tracks they had to hand on Dark Side of the Moon, it would not be the perfect item that it is, that we know and love. Same with the Stones thing. 40 minutes, about that, is perfect. 20 minutes each side. It's just, I don't know, it just twangs your vibrations. Tell me I'm wrong. Adam says, Nick, did you hear the ingenious idea Bodger had of you... Yes, I did. Yes, I did. God, if only we'd known that at the time. I'm going to get into all of that. We had one of the worst death rates of any country on earth, which is incredible, really, considering the geniuses that were running us at the time.
Yeah. Wait
The catastrophic clown show to lead us through that nightmare. But the details that are just coming out now, if we had known then, God, can you imagine the stampede for the exits? They wouldn't have been able to close the airport because the crowd would have overwhelmed the barriers. We'd be hanging off the wings on the outside of the plane just to get out of here. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Let me take this moment to remind you that I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
Now, if you wish to be amused, and there's a hell of a lot that's awful in the news, and I know it's just like being swamped in a tsunami wave of misery. If you want to take a break from all that, and you have an hour spare that you don't want to doom scroll your way through, then I can recommend the podcast that I do with Carol McGiffin. She's nuts. And the idea is that we try to solve people's problems while laughing our faces off, essentially. It is a laugh, and I think you'll be amused. Now, the idea is that we solve problems. If you want us to solve your problem, this is the address, nickandcarol@global.com, nickandcarol@global.com, and prepare for total satisfaction.
Oh, right, yeah.
Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol?
This is LBC with Nick Abbot. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
Right, so what are we doing?
Gibbon, we're doing a radio show. Pay attention. 03, you might miss something important. 0345 6060 973. Martin says, I've broken my leg. Instead of being a nuisance to the NHS, I'm blowing my leg better with a hairdryer. With a hairdryer. I'll just read this as it was written. It doesn't really require anything else from me. Boris Johnson had the wrong skill set to lead the country through the pandemic, leaving his senior aides exhausted by constantly changing his mind on crucial decisions.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
The Lee Kane, this is, the former Downing Street Director of Communications, told the inquiry the severity of the crisis required firm and constant leadership. Firm and constant leadership, which the former Prime Minister was unable to provide. Exactly what did he bring to the table? I mean, I'm keen to find out. What is it, apart from, that? Apart from that. The former senior aide described Johnson's words at a press conference in spring 2020 as, quotes, unhelpful, when the Prime Minister indicated that the UK could get the COVID virus under control within 12 weeks, as it set a very unrealistic expectation of where the nation needed to be at that point. Yeah, like I said, this nation needed to be in another country at that point. Another better run country that didn't have a clown as the premier. Like, pick any. Asked by the inquiry's lawyer whether he agreed with WhatsApp messages from Dominic Cummings, the former number 10 aide suggested that Johnson might not be up to... Asked by the inquiry's lawyer whether he agreed with WhatsApp messages from Dominic Cummings, the former top number 10 aide, that suggested that Johnson might not be up to the job, Kane said, I think that's quite a strong thing to say. No, it's not strong enough. He should have been put in a straitjacket and dragged out of there by his hair. Lee Kane said, I think what will probably be clear in COVID, it was the wrong crisis for this Prime Minister's skill set, which is different, I think, from not potentially being up to the job of being Prime Minister. No, it isn't. It is the same as not being up to the job of being Prime Minister. Are you kidding me? None of these people are going to go to jail. None of these people are going to be inconvenienced or bothered in any way, shape or form. They've got away with it. Got away with it. Been promoted, they have. But I have detailed files, and I'll come to that in a minute. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Bradford. Hello, Martin.
Hello there, Nick.
Hello there, Martin.
Very good to listen to you today. I've been, feeling very down, and it's like a dose of common sense.
No, you can't say that. I mean, he's very, very annoyed, is what he said. But he expressed himself in builder's language.
Disgusting.
He just couldn't keep it in. Got to let it out. Got to tell the world. World's got to hear.
Rock and roll!
Phil says, good evening, Nick. Despite only being 3'8" tall, Tishy Shurak still manages to find trousers that finish halfway up his shins. Yeah, you wouldn't think that was possible, really, would you? Can you believe that he gets that suit tailor-made, custom-made to his precise specifications?
No.
No, it's hard to believe. I think it's custom-made to somebody else's precise specifications. He went into the tailor, they said, well, we've got this thing, but it doesn't fit anybody. Well, you can have it at half price if you like. Phil says, is he, in fact, simply wearing shorts? Yeah, quite possibly, yeah. I think he takes ordinary trousers and then turns them up with a staple gun. He said, and when he was sitting down, he had, in the proper manner, he had black socks on underneath his black suit. But normally when you sit down, your trousers ride up a bit. Now, his trousers are ridden up when he's standing up. So when he sits down, I mean, they're practically over his knees. And yet, his socks covered the gap that would ordinarily appear between the trouser and his and top of his socks, which means that I don't know, maybe he's wearing a onesie. Maybe they're not socks at all. Maybe they go all the way up to his neck. It's possible. I'm just putting it out there as a possibility. Nick says, we've got floods here in Tuscany, but we've got great food and we don't have any Brexit nonsense. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that is right. Nice scenery too, so I heard. But come the summer months, that Tuscany is absolutely infested with Tories.
Oh, no.
Tory MPs, I bet. I bet Liz Truss has got a garret there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm. I know that Diamond Dave has.
I think this is nonsense.
Yeah, we know where you live, Dave. We know where you live. In the shed where they keep the tools. 0345 6060 973. Let's see what this one's like. Bath. Hello, John.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
You know, a couple of things I wanted to say. First of all, you know you have the car you were in that was extremely quiet?
Yes.
I reckon today, with today's technology and Bluetooth, you could probably rig up a sound effect to sound like a car, a bit like Boris Johnson's vroom, vroom, rah, rah, rah.
Oh.
Vroom, vroom, rah, rah.
Yeah, if only I had that.
Then they'd know you would like it, you were in traffic.
Cars do that, though. I know that for... Well, I don't actually know it for a fact, but I believe that I know it for a fact. I think
that makes it true.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I think that cars... Because you can't really, even if you've got like a really grumble engine, you can't really hear it inside the car because, you know, they put sound deadening materials.
It's like a hermetically sealed box.
Yeah, and so they feed in fake noise to the driver of the car that makes it sound as though he's actually got an engine under the bonnet.
So you could have Arnie doing it. You're going really fast.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what, the other thing I was going to say is, you know this Beatles release?
The what?
That's come out.
Oh, the Beatles, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reserving judgment. I've not heard it. But there was a guy who wrote an article, I don't know if it was for the Independent or the Times, and the strapline at the top of it was, I didn't like them then, and I don't like them now.
Wow, what an idiot.
And I just thought, oh, bugger off. Because it's just like, you know, they're the same sorts of people that try to say the best James Bond was Lazenby. It's just to take some I liked Lazenby, but just to be contrary.
Yeah, just to attract attention to themselves, I believe, which seems to have worked because you're talking about him on the radio.
Only because, they said, to describe the Beatles as being like a kind of like a dross band is not true. Paul McCartney is a consummate musician, as you know.
It's not that he's a consummate musician. There's a lot of great musicians in the world, just like there are a lot of great singers. And most of them, if at all, will have one song and that's it. And
he's got a plethora.
And those great musicians and singers will never be heard of again. You know, some of the greatest musicians in rock history have been session musicians that don't even get a credit on the music that they create. No, hang on a minute.
That's what I've done.
Wait a minute. And so the thing with Paul McCartney is he seems to have this thing that he can write, without seemingly trying, a song that, crucially, the whole world likes and wants to sing. And it doesn't matter how old you are, and it doesn't matter what country you come from or what language you speak. Grannies and infants all like the music that he makes, and you can't really say that of almost anybody else.
And he crosses so many genres.
Completely. I mentioned this a while ago. I was listening to there was a compilation out a little while ago called The Singles, Paul McCartney, The Singles. And I think in a row was Live and Let Die, which is one of the biggest songs, by which I mean the sound is just off the scale. And it gets big around about the middle, and an orchestra comes in, and you think, wow, that's absolutely huge. And then it gets bigger, and it gets bigger and bigger, and I found myself just laughing out loud in public, listening to this thing on headphones, because it just gets... It's like the whole world is all playing on at the same time. It's incredible. And the very next song is Sea Moon, which sounds like him and his kids around the kitchen table.
Yeah, it's like I can't put my finger, but it's just I've always thought that
I tell you what, John, you want to get yourself a new phone or get to higher ground, lean out the window, something like that, but not if you're in a train. because that would be dangerous. But thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Just faded away there. Like Blondie. Faded away and radiated. Craig says, I've got an idea on how to cheer up the news. When translators translate from a foreign language to English, they should use comedy voices or accents. The leader of Hamas could be given a strong Yorkshire accent, or a Chinese politician given the voice of Homer Simpson. That's a good idea, Craig. Somebody should definitely do that. I bet somebody already has.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
What number are you calling from?
0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Let's have a call in Cambridge. Hassan.
Hi, Nick. Rishi and Suella, the deadly duo, are very upset that pro-Palestine supporters might dare call for a ceasefire on Armistice Day, which was supposed to be...
I know. Calling for an armistice on Armistice Day. How could they?
It's so insulting. It's so insulting. But look, I think the organizers have already confirmed that they were not going to go up Whitehall.
No.
So Suella can sort of stop sending her sort of evil sort of incantations towards the organizers.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that it's been an exciting week because I think Keir Starmer has been beset with all sorts of hostilities from his councillors and voters and others.
Yeah, friendly fire.
Exactly. But the thing is, this is all Jeremy Corbyn's fault.
It is.
Corbyn has the ability to always choose the good causes, and then Starmer has to do the opposite and then ends up in all the evil causes.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Jeremy Corbyn. You see what you've done?
Well, thank you, and thank you for a wonderful program.
All right. Thanks a lot, Hassan. Thank you for a wonderful call. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
0345 6060 973. Yeah, I mean, who could have predicted that apart from me on every single show since the dawn of time? The left are going to fight amongst themselves, form a circular firing squad, take each other out and allow the Tories to step nimbly over them and take the tape. It's just a matter of time as to when the polls will show that the Tories are back in the lead. I mean, I don't have any words, which is bad, being as I'm a talk show host. On that subject, Sam says, have you heard that AI can even present radio shows?
What?
He says, are you worried? You bet I am. He says, I bet they can... He says, I bet they can't do accurate maths or weather forecasts, though, so you should be fine. Oh, well, that's a relief. I mean, if there's one thing that computers can't do, it's add up. That's just a fact. Tristan says, what's the difference between Elon Musk and Rishi Sunak? One's a billionaire known for travelling around on autopilot, and the other runs Twitter. A listener with material.
Oh, no.
Darryl says, in the COVID inquiry, Dominic Cummings said that everyone described Bodger as a trolley. Well, at least it was useful for one thing, being a receptacle for shuttling in all the drink.
Booze.
Yes, exactly. That man used to be the leader of this country. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And people had the audacity at the time when I was taking the mick, ever so gently, considering the circumstances, they would be forever calling in saying the same blooming thing as though they were reading off a script. Leave him alone. He's doing his best to kill us all. We come to find out. I mean, if only for the adults in the room that were all alive today. And they were a bunch of babies as well. Drunk babies. That's actually true, isn't it? A bunch of drunken babies at a party. Having it large. York. Hello, Jan.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I am great, mate.
Good. Well, I was going to ask if you'd heard the Beatles' new song, but you've answered that already.
Yeah, I heard it once.
So, yeah. What did you think? You not keen?
No, it's difficult to tell on the first go. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes songs need to what's the word?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What is the word? They need to grow on you. You know, like a fungus. They need to grow on you. Quite right. Yeah. And I liked it. I thought it was nice. But maybe more listens will make me appreciate it more.
I like it. It's sad, isn't it? And I like a sad song, so...
Is it?
Don't you think so?
Well, you know what? I never listen to lyrics. I can...
Right.
They go in, and I find myself singing along to them, but I have absolutely no idea what it is that I'm singing. It's like I'm on autopilot.
Well, you listen to it again and see what you think.
Is that homework?
Yeah.
Oh, all right, then.
Anyway, can I just mention something else, seeing as you've answered that question that, I was going to ask you about?
Okay. What's it about, by the way? I mean, you say it's sad. Are you talking about just the music, or is it in like an off-key, whatever musicians call it?
The words,
What are the words like?
Well, I miss you, and...
Oh.
That's sad, isn't it?
Well,
yes.
It depends.
Right.
Well, is he missing somebody that's not with us anymore, or are they missing somebody? Tried to mow them down in the middle of the street, and they jumped out of the way. What is it? What is it that mean? What is the meaning, Jan? Explain it to me.
Didn't he write it for Paul when they split up?
Oh yeah.
I think that's what the story is.
Right.
Anyway, I like it.
Right. I think one of the... I don't know anything about it, but having seen that 8-hour documentary about the making of Get Back, it seemed to me that the person that split the Beatles up was John Lennon dragging his blooming wife into the recording studio. Every time she came in, people said, Yoko, oh no.
That's poor Yoko, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Anyway, can I just mention this, what I was going to say about the latest Nick Abbot Habit podcast?
Okay.
I love that call where the chap suggested that you get an allotment.
Oh, that was a great call. Yeah, that really was.
Fantastic.
He was funny, yeah.
I loved it. But you weren't very keen, were you?
I was keen on the call, but not really keen on the idea of getting an allotment. No, it seemed. It seems like it's a bit. I don't know. It's a bit exposed to other people coming and pinching your onions.
Well, he made it sound idyllic, didn't he?
He certainly did. Yeah. Yeah.
And he also mentioned, as he put it, your hostility towards ladybirds.
Yes. Well, ladybirds got it coming. What? They know what they've done.
No, you've got that wrong. What have you got against them?
They're awful things. They crawl into... Yes, they crawl... No. Yes, they crawl into the space between your window and the frame. I have terrible windows, and not only can the wind go whistle straight through them, but ladybirds can crawl in there and then just clump together in groups of dozens of them, and then they spend the winter in there and they stink the place out. Awful.
That's right. They're keeping warm for the winter.
Yeah.
But
why can't they just go out in the garden and die?
No. All the green fly and black fly. You don't want to get rid of the ladybirds. You've got that wrong.
Have I?
If you were a gardener, Nick, you'd know that.
Right. Well...
Get an allotment and then you'd know.
I absolutely will not do that, but thanks for the good suggestion.
All right.
Cheers, Jan. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, she's talking about one of the other podcasts that I do, which is... Slow down. She's talking about one of the other podcasts that I do, which is called the Nick Abbot Habit. It's concentrated amusement. It comes out on Monday. It's a half an hour long of old clips from old shows. And at the moment, I'm going through 2019. Which I had done previously, and then I went into 2020.
Warning!
Which then is, is like a whole year of virus misery, from which I couldn't... I mean, I'll have to go through them eventually, I suppose, because I'll just run out of old shows. But it was difficult to pluck amusing bits out of, thousands of people dying every day. So then I managed to find some shows from 2019 that I hadn't gone through before, and that's what I'm chopping up at the moment. Clips of old shows, just the funny parts, amusing bits. And Jan's quite right. That caller that was in the last episode who called in about an allotment, he was like a comedian. I mean, he was actually really, really good. So there's another thing if you wish to be amused. It's only a half an hour, so, you could pop it on while you're doing the dishes or whatever it is you do to while away the day. It's called the Nick Abbot Habit. Comes out on a Monday, half an hour long. You can get it on Global Player, by the way. If you haven't got Global Player, I can thoroughly recommend it. You'll get it from your favourite app store or globalplayer.com. Ask for it by name on an internet near you, the Nick Abbot Habit. Let's have Bister. Phil.
Hiya.
Phil.
Hello.
Let me say...
I just want to get it.
Yes, Phil.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. I've just got a couple of quick ones before you turn me off.
Okay.
No, serious. When you say Cameron's in the shed with the tools...
Yes. Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means he's... where do you keep the tools? In the shed. And that's where you'll find David Cameron, with the tools in the shed.
Why? Yeah, but why?
Because he bought that fancy shed. Do you not remember he spent about £100,000 on a shed?
Oh, right, okay.
It might not have been £100,000, but even if it wasn't, that doesn't prevent it from being a fact. And another thing.
We've closed the wing of the Simon Wiesenthal part of Vista Town Council because they managed to track down Martin Bormann at last.
Is this you aren't right? Okay, you know what? I don't wish to go a single solitary inch further on that, but I appreciate the call, Phil. For whatever it was about. John says a big screen on a Tesla is fine, except without tactile buttons. How on earth do they expect blind drivers to be to be able to operate the car? Out and out thoughtless discrimination. Well, that's a good point, John. Stevie Wonder is furious. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. David says, one thing I noticed this week about Storm Ciarán, it helped Fishy Sunak with his plan to stop the boats.
The country's priority is to stop the boats. And at the same time, I think people know that I'm relentlessly focusing on stopping the boats. And I'm relentlessly focused on stopping the boats. That's one of my 5 priorities, stopping the boats. And I think people know that I'm working night and day to stop the boats. I firmly believe that that's what the country wants me to do. That's what the government is committed to doing, and we're working night and day to stop the boats. That's what the country wants us to focus on, and I will keep at it.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
I'm gripping it.
Everything is going extremely well.
Everything is going extremely well. 0345 6060 973. Dominic Cummings spent hours being grilled by the COVID inquiry lawyers on Tuesday about his time in Number 10 during the pandemic and on the contents of explosive WhatsApp messages and emails. He said these were absolutely useless. I mean, what a bunch of monkeys. They could have done better than any of these people. He said, do you remember when people used to think that Dominic Cummings was a genius?
No.
Yeah. He actually was there in person, as opposed to Bodger Johnson, who was only there in spirit, by which I mean... booze. Here's what that baseball-capped Gollum said about what was going on at the time when this country was experiencing its worst pain since we were at war and bombs were falling from the sky and food was rationed. You know, the good old days. Dominic Gollum said, As the pandemic crisis unfolded in February of 2020, Boris Johnson went on holiday for a fortnight.
What?
Yeah. And he was little involved in government because he was extremely distracted during that time because he wanted to work on his Shakespeare book, which was never published. And he was trying to remember the name of the woman he was going to marry because he didn't want to call out the name of the woman he was trying to divorce after one of his up-all-night business meetings. Gollum said he had a divorce to finalise and was grappling with financial problems from that, plus his girlfriend Carrie Simmons' spending plans for the number 10 flat, and an ex-girlfriend, which was thought to refer to Jennifer Arcuri, was making accusations about him in the media, and his current girlfriend wanted to finalise the announcement of their engagement. Seriously, ladies, what is it about a millionaire who can't dress himself and has the body of a manatee that you find so attractive? Cummings texted Lee Kane, number 10's Director of Communications in March 2020, to tell him that Johnson doesn't think COVID's a big deal. Well, it wasn't going to pay for the new curtains, so why would he pay any attention? Cummings told Johnson to stop shaking hands. But it prompted him to veer towards Mayor of Jaws mode, a reference to the film's mayor, who kept the beaches open despite the shark attacks. Idiot. He was going on TV and he was doing just that, shaking hands. He boasted about it. You know, that clown actually said, after being told that shaking hands was out because the virus spreads that way, he went on TV and said that he'd just gone to hospital stuffed with people with COVID and shook hands with everybody there. You will be delighted to hear, he said. We will be delighted to hear. That's what he said. Yeah, he actually used those words. I mean, as though we could give two about that. But it's worse than that because Mr. Blobby asked top scientists, Sir Chris Whitty and Sir Patrick Vallance, if COVID could... I mean, there's just so many details in here that it's just hard to believe. We thought it was bad at the time, but it was actually much, much worse than we could possibly have imagined. The actual leader of this country asked two of our top scientists if COVID could be destroyed by blowing a special hairdryer up the nose.
What?
Yeah. I tell you what, maybe we could insert a special hairdryer up Boris's and blast him into space. The former senior political advisor, Gollum Cummings, described the moment as a low point. In amongst a whole field of low points. The Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, then circulated a YouTube video of a man using a hairdryer for that purpose, blowing a special hairdryer up his nose in order to kill COVID. There's nothing funny about it. And then he tried to kill the Queen. Boris Johnson tried to go and see the Queen in person on the 18th of March 2020 when he had COVID symptoms, rejecting advice from Cummings and an aide called Cleo Watson. Cummings wrote, I was desperate and said something like, if you've got COVID and you kill the Queen, you're finished. Number 10 denied the story. Well, of course they did. But is anyone believing anything that comes out of that building anymore?
No.
And anyway, I bet it still would not have finished his career. I mean, if he'd killed the Queen because he infected her with COVID, he'd still have got £1 million writing articles about morals and hosting programmes on pretend news channels, and the right-wing media would have blamed Jeremy blooming Corbyn for not infecting her sooner and giving her immunity. Thanks a lot, Jeremy Corbyn. You almost did for Her Majesty with your selfishness. No! Gollum then claimed that when Johnson insisted on workers going back to their offices in July 2021, he was under constant bombardment from his newspaper friends to get commuters back because it was hitting their profits. You can go ahead and scream now if you wish. Yeah, let it out. This government was basing its policies not on the science, like they said they were, but on whether offshore tax-avoiding media mogul billionaires' profit margins were going up or down. I mean, even in an international emergency, it's all about the money, honey. Cummings claimed that as the pandemic escalated, Johnson was spending time on irrelevant or, in his words, frankly, alarming things. including meeting Evgeny Lebedev, the owner of the Evening Standard, to discuss his peerage and bunging cash to the newspaper in the form of advertising spending. Cummings said, I thought it was an extremely bad idea. Blimey, even with his eyes, he could see that. Gollum also said that Johnson had asked him to find a dead cat to get the pandemic off the front pages because he was sick of it. Oh, he was bored. Poor Bodger. And as for the celebrity TV contestant, once known as the health secretary, Gollum said that Matt Bloomin' Hancock constantly lied and that he had told the PM to sack him on multiple occasions. Senior officials also told Johnson that leaving Hancock in post guaranteed further disasters and deaths in the autumn and winter. He claimed that if he had been replaced, thousands would have survived. But hey, what's thousands of dead people as opposed to making Boris Johnson, actually do something for the benefit of the nation as opposed to himself? Yes. I mean, the detail, the excruciating detail just came thick and fast, mostly thick. Cummings claimed that he'd been told about the Abbot party in the Downing Street flat celebrating his departure. And that after he left Downing Street, officials told him that the management of Number 10 collapsed and the parties became routine. Blimey, it takes something for an organisation to be worse after Mr. I drive around in public to test my eyes leaves it. And then there was Bodger's girlfriend. Which one, I hear you cry? Well, the one that is his current wife. The one that we don't at present know if he's cheated on or not. Cummings claimed that the Cabinet Secretary and senior private office officials shared his concern that the PM's then fiancée, Carrie Simmons, was exacerbating the trolley problem. That is, Blobby's tendency to change his mind, depending on his audience and how much applause and love it will get him. He said after the PM went upstairs in the evening and texted, sometimes contradicting things he'd just agreed to, staff often worried, is it him or is it her? Sometimes he'd come down in the morning and contradict himself again, saying, oh, ignore that, Carrie was going crackers. Wow. I mean, it's funny, but it's really not funny. Cummings claimed she was often blamed by Johnson for U-turns that were not her fault. In November of 2020, the PM suggested that she get a job with the royal family and take lots of foreign travel to get her out of our hair. Wow. You wait till she hears this. And now we're here. And the same catastrophic clown show is still running the shop. All the major players have either been promoted or they're earning multiples of their salaries when they were in office. Absolutely none of them have been punished in any way, and billions of pounds of our money has been spirited off to those with suspiciously close connections to the regime. And they're still telling us that they have our best interests at heart.
It's the country's number one priority. It's my number one priority up and down the country, and that will be our focus.
This is LBC. Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Al texts regarding the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary. He said, I nearly spat my tea out when he said that the initial thinking around the Terminator was to have the Terminator played by O.J. Simpson, but they thought the public would struggle to accept O.J. as a murderer. Yeah. And Simon says, as a rock and roller, do you not think it is sad that the best music around at the moment is groups from the 1960s who are now in their 80s? Is that not an indictment of the current music scene, says Simon. Yes, I suppose so. I mean, it does seem to me that the Rolling Stones have basically thrashed every band on earth and said, there you are, follow that. And I very much doubt that any band would be able to do it. But I'm also not one of those people that says, oh, there's no good music around anymore. I think when people say that, that means that they haven't actually looked. They just keep playing their old records over and over and over again. Because there is some good stuff around at the moment. I mean, Carbon-Based Life Forms, they've just released a live album. There's that album that I've been listening to over and over and over again, which is called Black Classical Music by someone called Yusuf Days, whose work I am I'm now familiar with. What else have I been listening to? Well, I mean, the thing that fits in with what you were saying is the Eric Clapton. He's just released the 24 Nights Live album, but it's an old live album from when he played the Royal Albert Hall. But that fits into that, old rock and rollers, and it's just it's just absolutely phenomenal. Listen to the first track on that 24 Nights Live album, which is called what's it called? Pretending. Oh, it's so great. But then, on the other hand, there's the Dinner Party, which is a band. I think it's got Robert Glasper associated to it. And this is going to make you think that I am hip and with it. There's someone who is unfamiliar to me called Priya Ragu. I know that sounds like like dinner, but it's Priya Ragu. And their new album, or his or her, I don't really know, to be honest. His or her new album is an excellent thing. I think you'll love it. I hope you're writing this stuff down. 0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Cheshire. Hello, David.
Hello.
David.
Yeah. I'm just wondering whether you can answer a question, really.
What's your query?
Well, I was putting my Christmas decorations up.
A little bit too early?
Well, I thought it was a bit late, really, but...
What is the nature of your Christmas decoration? Please don't tell me you've got the tree up.
No, not the tree, no.
Not the tree.
Just some sparkly lights.
Oh, sparkly lights?
And
can they be seen from the road?
They can be seen from the road, yes.
Oh, I don't know. Is there anybody else around you that has got their sparkly lights up that can be seen from the road?
There probably is, yes. To be
probably? Honest, that sounds like no.
And I was listening to the radio because when I put my Christmas decorations up,
right, of course,
I like to just listen to something.
Yeah, while you're hanging your tinsel. Yeah,
correct. And I was listening to LBC, and I don't usually. There was a guy on. I can't remember his name. He's he's a right wing guy, and he has different people on asking questions. First question, I think it is.
Right.
And there was a
you were so stunned you almost dropped your bauble.
Yes, I did drop my bauble. Yes, and there was a lady on there who was absolutely convinced that Dominic Cummings was the most genius people, the most cleverest people she'd ever worked with.
Yeah, one of the smartest, stupid people she's ever met, yeah.
And he was an absolute genius, and the host of the show said he was a flawed genius. and no, honestly, that was what he said. He said he's a flawed genius. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, well, is that the same Dominic Cummings?
Yeah. No, it must be a different one.
No, it was actually the same one.
No, I can't possibly believe that they were talking about the Dominic Cummings that we know and hate.
So Dominic Cummings, actually, when he had at least 24 hours, 48 hours, and he hosted a press conference in the Rose Garden, and the best excuse he could come with for driving his car was to
test his eyesight.
To put his son in the back seat
of the car, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the best excuse he'd come with, though, to say that he was testing his eyesight. To drive 30 miles.
Yeah, he could barely see to as far as the steering wheel, and he was driving around completely blind. But it was the safest thing he could think of doing at the time.
He's the absolute genius.
He's a genius.
The media keeps saying it.
David, I'll sum that argument up for you. What are they talking about?
How's that possible?
I don't know. How is it possible that a person has put all of his Christmas decorations up at the beginning of November?
Well, I didn't really. That was a slight lie.
A lie, right. But even though it was a lie, it doesn't prevent it from being true. Don't forget that. All right, thanks a lot, David. I did think about putting my Christmas lights up a couple of weeks ago because it was getting a bit dark, a bit early. Now, of course, we've been plunged into doom and misery for the next 5 months. But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Lucy texts, if homeless people who the Tories can't accommodate elsewhere can't live on the streets in tents, are they supposed to be taken off to Rwanda? Yeah, they'll have to find their own way there as extra punishment for being unlucky in life, visited upon them by people who have been mysteriously lucky in life. William says, is Elon Musk the first person that Titchy has met who is richer than he is? No, there's his wife, remember, and his wife's daddy, who I bet he is spending night and day trying to impress. How's it going so far?
Fabulous.
0345. Constant disappointment, I bet. 0345 6060 973. Let's have, let me see now, who's been waiting the longest. Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, how are you tonight?
Good, thanks.
Good. A couple of real quickies on COVID and then something else. Have you seen Johnson's already started making statements trying to defend himself?
Has he? What did he say?
Yeah. He said, I want to tell you, hand on heart, that I always prioritised human life.
Yeah. Which one? His?
Exactly. I mean, that's just so blatantly being contradicted by everything.
Everything. Yeah. Absolutely everything we know about the man says that the opposite of what he's implying when he said that, yeah.
Yeah, and the other little quickie on COVID. Did you see the bit where they said that in Downing Street they were laughing at the crisis in Italy, thinking it wouldn't come here, and we're going on weekend skiing trips?
Yes, stupid Italians, they said. Yeah, being infected by an invisible virus. Stupid Italians.
I mean, I think I'm sort of convinced there's a fair lot of evil in there, but that's stupid.
Oh no, I believe that if you have to characterise them in one word, evil would be a pretty good one. Yeah.
But the main thing I rang up about was have you seen mad scribblings in the Daily Mail this week?
Mad scribblings. Nads. Right? No, I haven't. No, what's she coming out with now?
Well, they're doing this thing about her book about the plot to destroy Boris Johnson.
Boris Johnson was the plot to destroy Boris Johnson.
Exactly, but I don't normally read the Daily Mail, but I made an exception on this instance.
You just couldn't help yourself.
I normally read what other journals report about the Daily Mail.
Yeah.
But it's actually quite weird because she claims that there's this guy who is a hitman fixer for the Conservative Party Central Council.
A hitman?
A hitman who's been in Downing Street for 40 years. And in order to silence one of his previous girlfriends, he got this girlfriend's little brother's rabbit butchered and nailed to her front door.
Oh, my God.
To silence her. This guy has got a pass to Downing Street. He's been in and out of Downing Street for 40 years.
Right. But you have to consider... Okay, all right. All right, but you have to consider the source, though, Mike. And by the way, here's a good question. If Nadine Dorries, who has just been relieved of her duties as an MP, has got a brand new book out, when did she find the time to write that, then?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right. What are these people doing? Johnson's going off doing all that stuff. But last point, Sunak, okay? He's talking to Elon Musk, who is saying that AI is going to destroy all jobs.
Yes.
Now, if you look at the latest speech his father-in-law's given in India, he's saying he wants employees who are willing to work 70 hours a week.
Yeah, 70, that's right.
In India around.
Yeah. I mean, the guy's a billionaire, for crying out loud. He wants kids to join his company and work 70 hours a week for the glorification and further enrichment of himself.
So which one's right? Musk. I mean, he's played up table and laughed at him like he was like Doris used to look at Johnson. And then his father-in-law's coming out saying everyone should work 70 hours a week. Well, which way is he going to jump on that?
Well, I wouldn't trust Elon Musk as far as I could throw him. He made a car that you can't get into. I was literally fumbling around the back of his car when it arrived as a cab. I could not get into the car. How do you get into those cars? It's impossible. You can't do it.
No. I don't know. I've never been in one.
No, I hadn't been in one either. I guess there's a trick, but I couldn't fathom it. Not in the dark, anyway. All right, thanks a lot, Mike. Yeah, if she's just managed to release a book, when did she find the time to do that? You know, what with doing her best by her constituents? You know, doing a full-time job, working on behalf of the people that voted for her, and, by the way, the people that didn't, supposedly. When did you find the time to scribble down a book, you might ask yourself, with justification? You know, what with having a full-time job and all. God, it's absolutely excruciating, isn't it? Here's the headline. Nadine Dorries reveals all about shadowy Tory number 10 fixer who had pet rabbit butchered in mafia-style warning to his ex-girlfriend.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'll refer you back to the word that I plucked from the air some moments ago. Evil. I mean, you could call it a comedy clown show, but there is an undercurrent of nastiness around the whole lot of them, isn't there? Even the most bumbling and apparently befuddled.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, even him, or rather, especially him. There's that famous interview that he did with, I think it's one of his old masters at Eton or Oxford. You know, one of those people. Some bloke with a bow tie from memory. And he's quizzing Bodger Johnson. And I guess because he is one of his old teachers, Johnson is somewhat cowed. And he's not doing his old paw act, you know, that thing that he does. He's actually talking like a normal human being. And you believe that?
No.
And the guy who's interviewing him, he says, I can't remember quite what the phrase that he used was, but it was something of the order of, you're a nasty piece of work. There is, you know, something really quite unpleasant and borderline evil about you. I don't know whether he used the word evil, but it was, you know, going in that direction. And I'd have to say yes. That we vote... hard to remember that we actually used to have elections in this country. Can you remember back that far? We used to have elections in this country. We used to elect the person that resided in number 10. Please do not call me and say, well, technically we don't... I know that, but people vote for a party based on who's leading it. They do. It's our fault. Pretty much everything that happens that is bad in this country is our fault. Don't like the NHS? Your fault for voting Conservative. Don't like the fact that your fish company has gone to the knacker's yard? I can't think of where a fish company would go when it fails. Are you disappointed that your fisher persons are now out of work? Well, it was your fault for voting for Brexit, wasn't it? And so on and so on. It's all our fault. Everything that ails humankind is our fault. We could do something about it. There's fewer of them than there are of us.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Nadine Dorries at the moment. God, I've just been reading a little bit on the Mail Online. They're trumpeting it. They've got exclusive details about Nad's new book. And I'm curious as to when she wrote this. Did she write it all in the time since being deprived of her seat in the House of Commons? I'm expecting that the answer to that is no. So she was writing it while she was an MP. That's great. Can we have some of our money back?
No.
Boris Johnson was ousted by a cabal that has been controlling the Tory leadership for 2 decades, according to Nads. God, they're not doing a very good job, are they? In The Plot, the political assassination of Boris Johnson, Nadine Dorries identifies Michael Gove and Dominic Cummings and a powerful advisor called Dougie Smith as members of the movement. And I'm sorry, but there's nothing frightening about anybody called Dougie. Unless his name is Dougie. She says, this powerful cabal topped Mr. Johnson and brought down Ian middle name Smith as party leader, created havoc for Theresa May and undermined Liz Truss.
Absolutely.
None of these people needed undermining by an outside source. They dug holes underneath their own feet perfectly well without anybody else helping them. Her book, which is being serialised in the Daily Mail and the Mail on Sunday, argues that when it came to behind-the-scenes manipulation and manoeuvring, all roads led back to Michael Gove.
A major capital letters, big news story.
Because he binds all the dark arts people together. You know, this sounds like, we're being run by evil geniuses who are, plotting for 6 moves ahead in 3D chess. No, they're not. They're just taking whatever benefits they can glean at any given moment, just stumbling along. Do me a favour. She says the Levelling Up Secretary, Michael Gove...
Calm down.
...was in cahoots with Mr Cummings, who used his appearance at the COVID inquiry last week to attack Mr Johnson's leadership. Yeah, but not quite enough. God, she writes about him like he's completely perfect in every way. He was a chump. The sensational revelations come after Ms. Dorries accused the government of making a desperate attempt to block her book's publication. Well, that part I do believe. Officials had warned her refusal to hand over the manuscript for official vetting could lead her being blacklisted from future public appointments, including a peerage. And there's a picture of her looking sad. Oh. Cruelly denied a place in the House of Lords, because of all the good work that she did for the public, like, all the good things that she did while she was in the House of Commons, like, I've got no idea. The former Culture Secretary, she used to be Culture Secretary. The former Culture Secretary writes that after Bodger Johnson made Mr Cummings his Chief of Staff following pressure from Mr Gove and Mr Smith... God, there's a lot of Misters in there, isn't there? The movement, this cabal, plotted to remove the PM in the wake of his 2019 election victory on the grounds that he had already served his purpose by winning an 80-seat majority.
Yeah. Wait.
Because he was completely unsuited to running a country. Never mind about a bath. No, I got that the wrong way around. Completely unsuited to running a bath. Never mind about a country. There you go. That makes sense. Of course he should have been removed. And then on and on and on it goes. Yeah, I've been so cruelly denied a place in the House of Lords. Yeah, we know.
Stop whining.
0345 6060 973. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
I can't believe it. It's much worse than we thought at the time. Incredible to actually take that on board. I mean, it was bad at the time, but it was actually worse than that. Derby. Hello, Brent.
Good evening, my friend.
Yes, sir.
I dabble in the old history teaching, so I'm getting one of my wishes seems to be coming true, because I always wanted to be a child of the hippies of the 60s, groovy, as you might say.
Yes.
And my parents were, and it seems that my wish is coming true, because we've got the Beatles at number one, we've got, releasing the song, we've got the Rolling Stones at number one, we're in a Cold War with Russia, they're the bad guys again.
Yes.
We're back to that. We've got an international conflict going on, basically, where the left and the right are, one side is saying peace, give peace a chance, as if John Lennon has risen from the grave, and the other side are morally outraged by an M&S advert, like Mary Whitehouse has risen from the grave.
By a what advert?
The M&S advert. You're not seeing the whole furore about M&S ruining Christmas, because, this is the latest thing of Christmas is ruined. But that's getting earlier every year.
Is it?
So
well, wait a minute. Back up. I did see... I normally never watch adverts because I'd never watch live television, but I was just turning the TV off, and the M&S... I would imagine one of, if they have multiple adverts, I would imagine. Maybe they don't. And it came on, and I don't know, it didn't seem like very much to me. But people are angry about that?
Yeah, they're angry because the elf on the shelf is getting sort of beaten with a bat, and the Christmas cards are getting, turned fricasseed by Sophie Ellis-Bextor.
Yeah, is that who that was?
Yeah, exactly.
I had no idea.
And the one from Eurovision, who does Ted Lasso, she was she was quite mischievous. But the whole sort of the whole anti-woke brigade is triggered, going, how dare you attack our Christmas? How dare they? They've got this wrong. We need some traditional Christmas cheer. And
for crying out loud. It's not even December yet, and people are furious about Christmas.
Oh, there are letters being written. There have been letters written by the strictest head teacher in the country who's basically saying, you know, think of the children. No, I'm not joking. Look it up. There's a letter that's gone into M&S saying, think of the children. And
I actually have that tweet in front of me right now. This is Catherine Burble Singh, who every time her name is mentioned, people, and I don't know whether she actually glories in this title, but people feel it necessary to say that she is Britain's strictest head teacher. Which doesn't sound to me like anything that you should brag about to me. I mean, Britain's best, most caring head teacher, maybe, but Britain's strictest? Who wants to go to a school like that?
Well, give her time enough, she'll have the cane back. That's another 60s thing. Oh, and of course, we weren't in the European Union in the 1960s either. So, man,
and there was trouble in the Middle East. So, everything's been done under the sun. Yeah.
We're back to the future. So I get to lucky you're calling me Brent now, because I was going to be called. My parents were hippies. They were those type that I was going to be called Raving Moon, or as they like to call me sometimes, Raving something else. But
Raving Loon. Yeah. All right. Good work. Thanks a lot, Brent. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. This is a tweet by Catherine Burble Singh, as reprinted in The Guardian. I am sending this complaint letter to M&S. We should all be complaining, says Catherine Burble Singh, Britain's strictest head teacher. This is a fight for everything we should believe in. Do not sit this one out. Write a letter of complaint about that advert. 2 exclamation marks. You know, like a Britain's strictest head teacher would do. 2 exclamation marks? She's a teacher. And then it just goes on. I feel compelled to write to you to express my deep disappointment and outrage at your Christmas advert for 2023. You have a duty as our national department store to keep the spirit of Christmas alive for the sake of our children. When our nation is on its knees, trying to keep our spirits high for what we can all achieve together, this is not the time for you to encourage people to ignore the inspirational spirit of Christmas, of self-sacrifice and gratitude, and giving of one's time and finances to help one's fellow man, of children's laughter, of magical tales of Father Christmas, of kindness and beauty, and instead tells us to do whatever we want for ourselves. Oh my... Are you kidding me? Is this a joke? She was honoured at Buckingham Palace last month with a CBE for services to education. This whole country's lost its mind. Every other headline in the Mail these days starts "Fury as." Have you noticed? They really are trying to make you angry about the most inconsequential and stupid little things. And now she's having a cow about a blooming advert on the telly. Like anybody cares. I saw that advert today. It didn't make me furiously angry. It didn't make me think that God was being dissed. She actually brings God up at the end. Oh, God. She says, how can you do this to our country at such a time as this? Shame on you. So many exclamation marks. You think that if a teacher read that, she would get a D and asked to see her after school. It's like she's loaded up a blunderbuss with exclamation marks and just blasted it out of the page. How can you do this to our country at such a time as this? Shame on you. May God or Allah or Vishnu take pity on you.
What?
That's what she says. Wow. I mean, is she also writing a letter to the Home Office about the more than 1,000 Afghans in the UK who are being made homeless days before Christmas? Is she writing a letter about that?
No.
Not that I've seen, anyway. Maybe she is. The local government association revealed that the number of at-risk Afghans, which includes families, after the Home Office last week imposed a new deadline of the 15th of December. That is the Home Office, under the rule of a woman so exquisitely nasty she could be the baddie in a Disney cartoon, Cruella de Vil without the laughs. Meanwhile, new data reveals that more than 5,200 Ukrainian families are now receiving homelessness support, with 4,350 defined as homeless after relationships with UK families they were staying with broke down. Well, who could have seen that coming? During a meeting on Thursday, council leaders pressed the Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick for more resources to help accommodate Afghans and Ukrainians. And guess how much he offered? That's right, zero. Nothing. The local government association says some Afghans who served UK interests in Afghanistan could already be sleeping rough, having been moved out of hotels by this government more than 2 years ago after being evacuated from Kabul. Right. So, just to recap, Afghans who, at great risk to themselves and their families and everyone they knew, helped our troops in Afghanistan with translation and local knowledge, and the few that we did allow to come here, as opposed to refusing them, essentially killing them, are now on the streets as we have abandoned them. And just to rub it in, we're doing it at Christmas, the time of giving, in order that the government can tell us that they are saving public money, which they will do from the bedroom of the private jet they get us to pay for, so they don't have to slum it in first class when they go on one of their many fact-finding holidays. So in a future war in a foreign place, as we are most certainly going to have, you know, whenever America tells us to, approximately how many locals will be rushing forward to help us out?
And one?
Yeah, probably one. If we're lucky, we'll find one person who hasn't read the papers and doesn't know what we're like. And this is what the country's strictest headmistress is concentrating on. A bloomin' Marks and Spencer Christmas advert. She says, I looked to the heavens and asked that you be visited by the three ghosts who can perhaps shine a light on your duty to help pave the way for our children to learn how to live a life filled with more with giving rather than taking. Please take that advert down. Try again. You can do better. Please take that tweet down, Catherine Burble-Singh. Try again. You can do better. I'm assuming.
Leading Britain's conversation, Nick Abbott. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Now, wait a minute. I don't like that kind of talk. Now, just stop it. It upsets me.
So I've just been, I've just been looking at the. I thought, you know, after I read that tweet, I thought, I wonder what people have been saying about that tweet. It's very, very educational. I think. I think the Britain's strictest head teacher would appreciate the educational value of looking at the comments underneath her tweet. It's exactly as I predicted. Robbie Scowls says, this is probably the weirdest thing I've seen this week, and there is stiff competition. Kelly Jackson says, LMAO, with two hysterically laughing emojis. I don't know what you would call that, but there's tears coming out their eyes. She's LMAOing. She's she's LH her AO. Yeah. Stussy says, it's like all the cringe gathered together for just this tweet. That sounds like something kids would say. Oh, it's like total cringe, man. They probably wouldn't say man, though, would they? Craig says, are you okay? And putting a bit more thought into it, a bloke called Alex Richards says, if you think children at your school listen more to a playful M&S Christmas ad than you or your teachers, then the problem is probably at your end. Anyway, I thought you were against virtue signalling and cancel culture and pro-independent thinking and freedom of speech, etc.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. I cannot believe it. I mean, I've got to agree with Robbie Scowls. That is the weirdest thing I've seen this week, with stiff competition. Bodge.
I can't comment on that.
Yeah.
Blah,
blah, blah, blah, blah, blah. I say make her Prime Minister. I mean, let's give it a go. Why not? 0345 6060 973. Is this real life or am I hallucinating? West Midlands, Oldbury. Hello, Ranjit.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Can I just say something? Before I start, yesterday a lovely lady walked into the shop.
Oh, yeah.
And asked for me, yeah. And she says, I'm from Rwanda or something like that. And I thought, she's a lovely lady, lives in a place called Bearwood. She's your number one fan, come to see me. And someone called Ellie sent me a book this afternoon, through the post. I want to thank those two people. They love you and they love, I think they might love me a bit.
Well, I appreciate it, ladies.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sent you a book. I didn't know they made books anymore.
No, there's a book. I had a quick look at it. I'll tell you what it was tomorrow.
Okay.
Anyway, this thing about the adverts, right? Throughout the years, people do something controversial, which makes the whole press talk about them. Because a few years ago, someone says you can't wear the poppy if you work in such a cheap store. And they get free publicity. I don't even watch the adverts, right?
I never watch adverts. I only saw it by mistake. I normally see adverts at 30 times normal speed as I zip through them on things I've recorded.
No, but you have to do it as part of your job.
I don't.
But you don't have. But if you've got something to talk about, you've got a view on it.
Well, I certainly did not see that video in order to talk about it, because I had no idea it was even newsworthy. It looked pretty benign to me.
I know. I don't even know what it's about, but maybe you can explain after I go. Anyway, about this Boris Johnson lark here.
Yes.
Right. There was another one, who loves the poorly educated. Because he reckoned if you drank bleach, it would clear you of COVID, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what Boris Johnson could have done was...
That's right.
He did, didn't he? He did.
Yeah, the tangerine tornado said injecting bleach would be a good idea.
Oh, shut up!
Yeah, because he is a smart person, as we know.
I reckon Boris Johnson had bleached his hair first to see if he could get rid of COVID, and he was going to use the hairdryer to blow it away.
Yeah, up his nose.
Up his nose. But, the thing is, joking apart, the seriousness of all this, in 2020 when COVID happened, right, if you couldn't get a hospital appointment or something, or you couldn't see a doctor face-to-face, and you had a disease that had an incubation period of, say, 2 years or something, or cancer or something, they're still suffering now, aren't they? Because something that wasn't discovered then might have been cured, as inflamed now so big that people are still dying over it, I think, in my opinion. Okay? And when he turns around, and this is the most despicable thing that any one human being can say, right, is COVID is a natural way of getting rid of the old people.
Yeah.
What was he thinking when he said that?
Well, he certainly wasn't thinking about his own dad, who, I read, was one of the first people to be inoculated.
Yeah, and Boris Johnson is about a year older than me, right? So the thing is, I'm in the same age bracket, so we still got, I still had my parents, my dad then, but I still got my mum.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, Matt Hancock turning around saying he wanted to be the person who decided who lived and who didn't live.
Yeah, I know. Wow. Okay. I mean, that just took a dystopian turn right there, didn't it? I mean, I thought that I couldn't hate that man more, but it turns out I was wrong.
Yeah, and the other thing is, Nick, when Carrie leaves him, Johnson,
when she throws all of his clothes out the window one night, yes.
You just wonder what's going to come out then, because Cummings knows what was going on in Downing Street, right? and she knows a lot more.
Yeah,
right?
no doubt.
And you know this COVID inquiry, and I agree with you. What's going to be the end result is lessons must be learned.
Nothing further happens. Yeah,
nothing further happens. The guys should be tried for, right? Okay, we can all make mistakes. There's not a problem. But trying to cover your mistakes, right, and making fools out of all of us, right, and him laughing at us, it's worse, isn't it?
It's, I mean, I don't know what the actual dictionary definition of treason is, but I would, for my money, it would come close. So at least some of their actions would fall under its purview. Ranjit, I've got to go, but thanks a lot, mate. Stay angry. Stay frying. 0345 6060 973. On the subject of Bodger Johnson, Caroline says, what did he bring to the table? A Colin the Caterpillar cake and a suitcase of vodka.
Booze.
Yeah. Other than that, I can't really think. Leave him alone. He's doing his best. You see, the thing is that he is earning millions of pounds now on his, not on his reputation, on his act. On the this sort of cuddly, soft comedy act that he's got. But that's just so not him. It is an act. And that all of the people that are involved with this, all of the people who are guilty of failing this country, not a single solitary one of them has paid any price for it. They're earning more money now than they ever did then. The reward for failure is huge. But only if you are in with the in crowd, only if you are a certain sort of person. If you do not know them personally, then you lose, you get nothing. Victoria says, I cannot stand Paul McCartney or his music. So that's two things you've got wrong. Well, one of us is fundamentally wrong, Victoria, and I don't think it's me.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC. This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Hello, boys.
Are you trying to be funny? Because I'm all out of laughs.
Yes, it's difficult to maintain a state of amusement, you know, what with this tsunami of misery coming at us. This catastrophic clown show that we're still suffering under.
This government...
Exactly. Dan says the clowns messed up every single thing. It was bedlam. How come they managed so efficiently to steal all of our money? That's right. Yeah, they could do one thing really, really well. Yeah, and it's all about the money, honey. Yeah, where did it all go, I wonder? Wouldn't that be good to know? Where did all the money go? Because in the 13 years that they've been in power, they not doubled the national debt, they doubled it and then added another half on. It used to be £1 trillion. I know that's a big number. It's so big, I don't even know how many zeros are. All of them, I think. £1 trillion we were in debt in this country when the Tories took over 13 awful years ago. Now it's 2.5 trillion. Interesting. Where did the money go? Because it didn't go on fixing the roads, and it didn't go on fixing the railways, and it didn't go on fixing the law and order problem. They didn't pay it to the police, and they didn't pay it to the courts, and they closed all the half of the police stations and half of the magistrates' courts, and it didn't go on legal aid. And it didn't go on the NHS. Didn't go on hiring doctors. Didn't go on hiring nurses. It didn't go on hiring machines. That go. So where did it go? £1.5 trillion. Where did the money go? Anybody have any idea?
No.
No, we haven't a clue. But they most efficiently made it disappear like a magic trick. Really good at that. Like professionals they were. Rochester. Hello, Lulu.
Oh, hi.
Oh, are you communicating through Morse code? Wow, very, very, very bad reception there, Lulu. Can you lean out of a window, assuming you're not in a car? Gosh, she's waiting so long as well. and now nothing. What a tremendous disappointment. Can't hear a word you're saying, Lulu. Poor Lulu. No, I'm only getting like every third syllable.
I'm going to move. I'm moving.
You're moving something? Are you moving? You're moving right now? Where are you going to?
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah. To the window. To the window.
To the window. Ah, now I can hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Oh, Nick, so basically, a few muses ago, you said something, and I agree with every single word, but unfortunately, I'm a little bit refreshed, and I can't remember what it was, but I just wanted you to know that I agreed with every word you said. Yes, that's
well,
it.
I agree with every word you've said, even though I've missed half of them.
Okay. And then also, can I just say about Sunak with Musk this week? What a pathetic little worm that character is. Did you hear him laughing uproariously at nothing that was even funny that Musk was saying? He's a pathetic little worm, isn't he? He is just despicable. I hate him. Anyway, and secondly...
That's a very, very strong opinion you have there, Lulu, but I think it's justified. Yeah, carry on.
I can't abide him. He's evil.
That's what I hear.
I just wanted a little bit of sympathy from you, Nick, because I've been out tonight to meet Trevor Nelson. You know him, don't you?
I don't know him.
Yeah. You do. He's a superstar DJ, Trevor Nelson.
I do
He's
not.
been around forever. You know him.
I do not know him. No, but anyway.
But you have heard of him.
I've heard of him.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So your glamorous assistant was like bewildered when I spoke about him. So anyway, I've been out to see him tonight, and he was playing some bangers. And I should have listened, didn't it? Because
and you were propping up. By the sounds of it, Lulu, you were propping up the bar all night long.
Booze.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was slightly refreshed, but. I'm a little teeny tiny bit younger than you, Nick, but not much. And I was getting on down to Trevor's tunes tonight because they were bangers, I can assure you. Mm-hmm. And my knee went. And I just thought, oh, God, I'm bloody old now, you know. And it was
exactly right. Yeah, keep in a seated position at all times, Lulu, from this moment on. Promise me you'll do that. Thanks a lot, dear. If you call them straight away, you'll be able to get an appointment with a consultant in about, 6-7 years. Best of luck with that. Thanks, Lulu. Poor Lulu. Martin texts, he, as in Fishy Sunak, titchy suit size. Maybe he's wearing a morph suit underneath his tailored suit. What's a morph suit?
Like what's the word I'm looking for? You know the suits that are really tight? You often see people wearing them over their face, kind of like a onesie. I'll get you a picture now.
No, don't get me a picture. I don't want to see a picture of that. I don't want to, and you can't make me. Liz texts, you are right, Nick. I missed the last 8 minutes of your show listening to the Lady Gaga Mick Jagger duet. I thought I'd hate it, and I loved it. I'll listen to the rest of the album tomorrow, says Liz. Well, if your ears are functioning, Liz, you'll love the rest of the album too. But that Lady Gaga Mick Jagger thing, it has instantly became one of my favourite songs of all time. And that's the earworm that I've had for at least a week now. I just cannot get that song out of my mind. I wake up in the morning just as the sun is rising.
Rock and roll!
And it's in my mind. Thank goodness it's that, because it could be anything. It could be, oh, honey, honey. Could be, that, whatever that's called. What's that one called?
I'm just finding out.
He's got absolutely no idea. Sugar, 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 sugar. It could be that. Oh, honey. It could be something by the Bay City Rollers.
Oh, no.
Shang-a-lang. It could be that. You know, your mind just plucks weird things out of the ether, and then it just goes on loop. Heavy rotation in my brain. But fortunately, it's that Lady Gaga Mick Jagger song. And it's just, I could speak about it all night long. First of all, it's Mick. And then coming out of nowhere, there's female background singers which sort of paved the way for Lady Gaga, and about whom I know absolutely nothing at all. I've never knowingly heard her sing or any of her music. All I know about her is that she dresses weird. I probably have heard her music, but not being aware of that's who it was. Oh, my God, she can sing. So it's Mick doing his... oops. I did the arms and accidentally set off that sound effect. Doing Mick Jagger is very dangerous. So anyway, he's doing his thing, and then female background vocals come in, right, way back in the mix to pave the way for Lady Gaga to come in. And at first she's quite a way off, maybe a little sort of cowed by the presence of Sir Mick. But then she comes further and further forward, and the song builds to this tremendous climax, and you think, oh God, I'm absolutely spent. But it's not the end. It's like a false ending on the song. Now, I would love to know whether they actually planned it this way or whether they were all just playing this live, and they thought, let's just keep going for a bit, because this crescendo that you think that's just fantastic. They sort of tick it over a little bit, and then they come to an even bigger crescendo. It's unbelievable. I love it. I can't remember the last time I was so taken by an album, and it's by a bunch of 80-year-olds. You believe that? Handed every band on earth their bottoms and said, there you are, beat that. Amazing. Anyway, 0345 6060 973. Let's have Luton. Adam.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, thanks.
So, yeah, I was just calling, just 2 quick points. I was going to say, if you'd just follow in what you said about how we're treating our Iraqis and Ukrainians, with the homeless thing.
Not Iraqis, Afghans.
Sorry, Afghanis, sorry. If you heard the prank call Rishi's newfound friend, Georgia Maloney, received by them pranksters, and then Rishi kind of spoke out of turn and said, like, her friends in the EU are actually getting really bored of this Ukraine war. And I really expected the prank, when I listened to the audio, if you have time, that's your homework. I expected it to be like really well done, because the way she doing it, for her to like slip up so royally as she did.
Right.
And then I was like, and I really wanted to hear it, because I thought, well, I wonder how a Russian would sound doing an African accent. And I also thought, well, Georgia must know what Africans sound like, because she hates them so much.
Well, yeah.
She's like the original dinghy watcher.
She's done
on the Mediterranean.
She's done her full research. Yeah.
Oh my God! When you hear it, it's really bad. Like how she fell for it. Like the person couldn't sound more Borat. Like it's like, man, what part of Africa she thought that was from? I just couldn't get my head around.
Well, you know what? She may have a point, because when was the last? I mean, I disagree about fundamentally about everything on Earth. But as for being bored of Ukraine, when was the last time you read a story about Ukraine in the newspapers? We haven't. I haven't read word one for months now.
Well, sadly, maybe because the public's attention can only be kept on one hot girl at a time. But it's like, obviously, we've moved on to a new crisis.
Yeah.
So it's like every 5 minutes. Like, I really thought 2 years ago, wow, we're out of lockdown. Things are on the better. Ukraine happened. And then I thought, things can only get better in this current situation.
Yes.
And well done you also for your real versatility this week. You know, I always expect a punchline. You could tell us a nuclear apocalypse was happening tomorrow, and I would be like, where's the gag?
Yeah.
But you're actually really serious
on
the
week,
week,
on the serious shows. Yeah, there's precious few jokes about. Yeah, thanks a lot.
No,
mate.
but then my other point was just on this Poppygate.
Yes.
With Sir Keir Starmer, and I actually really felt sorry for him, because he clearly just doesn't want to put a foot out of turn, doesn't want to do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Because and I was really expecting this furore, as you said, to happen, because it happens all the time. But I thought, post Black Lives Matter, when we were like, what's the point of gesture politics? It's ridiculous. It's a joke.
Yeah.
I really thought, well, surely those same people are not going to come out again.
The very same
and
people.
And then kind of after all their, pro-slavery gestures, kind of knock people for not gesturing. How do we know Keir Starmer doesn't donate time and money to... it's just really mad to kind of knock him for trying not to offend anybody, because he's clearly trying to appease everybody.
Every single year, somebody is accused of either not wearing a poppy on television when they should do, or they're wearing a poppy and the leaf isn't pointing at 11 o'clock like it should be, or they're wearing it on the wrong lapel, or they left it in their other jacket, or they're not standing up straight enough, or they arrived in an inappropriate jacket, and on and on.
So he's not a patriot for not wearing a poppy, and they think he's the worst person in the world, worse than Boris?
Hitler. No, just go straight to Hitler.
Who hates his country more? Because Boris could wear a poppy and all's forgiven. Have we forgotten the last 13 years?
Gesture,
it's so ridiculous.
Politics, precisely right.
Bearing in mind, we were clapping into the sky for the NHS. That's gesture politics.
Of
course.
And
we didn't want to pay them.
Yes.
We took, I understand now, in retrospect, if Boris had taken the knee, like Keir Starmer, it would have been gesture politics, because he hates us and he's deporting us with the other hand. So I really thought we should be neutral. Maybe I don't... and when you look at the people that are so wear a poppy, it kind of makes me, reluctant to even, be associated with them, because truthfully, what are they doing for veterans that have mental health situations or are homeless? They're taking away their
absolutely zero. They're trying to cover themselves. They're trying to cover themselves in piety
in the flag
when when for the rest of the year they couldn't care less.
Absolutely, they're taking away their tents. You just told us
exactly. Yeah, precisely right. Yeah, in order to benefit those who have no home, who are sleeping on the streets in tents, the government's plan is to take their tents away. But, they did it when they were wearing a poppy, so that shows they care.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Shut up.
I can't. So here's that story. The Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, told a prank caller posing as an African leader that there was, quotes, a lot of tiredness over the war in Ukraine, and she had some ideas up her sleeve on how to find a way out. Well, what does that mean? Like find a way out of the war, or find a way out of reporting on the war, or helping the Ukrainians? Probably the latter. Find a way out of helping the Ukrainians. Maloney's office confirmed that she had been misled into the phone call, reportedly by two Russian comedians, that took place on the 18th of September by an imposter who passed himself off as the president of the African Union Commission. According to reports in the Italian press, the callers were two Russian comedians. Funny, no?
No.
Russian comedy. They're jointly known as Vovan and Lexus. They've probably got a breakfast radio show. One of whom presented himself to Meloni as, quotes, an African politician. Hello, I'm an African politician. Can I talk to the leader of Italy, please? And they said,
yes.
Yeah, sure, why not? We'll put you straight through. Vovan and Lexus have been accused of having links to Russian intelligence services. Well, it was the only intelligence on that phone call. But it's true. People are bored about Ukraine. When was the last time you read about it in the newspaper? Like never, right? As long ago as makes no difference to never. I mean, it's still going on. There has been no pause, as far as I'm aware. Still happening. But people they're just bored now. Can't be bothered reading about that. We've got a whole new exciting war to occupy our minds. That's pretty sad, really, when you think about it. Best not to. Kitty says, I missed the start, so I'm playing catch-up. I'm about 2.5 minutes behind. Please please slow down a bit. Sure, why not? Let's do that. For Kitty. Glasgow, Chrissy.
With a Glaswegian accent, slow down. That's a tall order. I'll try.
Okay. Okay, head.
Shut your face.
Oh.
Taking the mickey out of me.
Got a mouth like a midden, you.
Aye, I know. Geese piece. Anyway, had your weist now. The people are wondering what the heck we're on about.
Away and boil your head.
Boil your head. Aye. That's the end. That's right. You can't get it.
No,
you can get the pattern.
Awful.
Right.
That's right. Yeah, quite right too.
just at the point that they say there about the swear, I hadn't heard the thing about her taking the tents away. You know, wanting to ban tents.
Yeah.
I mean, on the verge of winter. Was this Cruella?
Cruella, yeah, like 2 weeks before Christmas. Oh no, that's the Afghans. She's going to chuck the Afghans who helped us at great risk to their own personal safety and that of their families. Going to chuck them out onto the streets. That's Robert Jenrick, and so Cruella heard that and thought, well, no one's going to out evil me.
Yeah, I know. I can hear them now. But I actually, and this is the God's honest truth, when I heard you saying it earlier on, and I kind of went ahead almost finishing your sentence, and I almost thought you were going to say, and hand on heart, I thought you were going to say she was going to ban the sale of sleeping bags. And I'm being serious. I actually thought you were going to say that.
Just to make sure.
Because you said, it's going to sound crazy when I say this, but this is where we are. And I thought,
it is.
Yeah, she's going to ban sleeping bags.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to say, look, and don't sell sleeping bags to people who look scruffy or something. I don't know how she was going to enforce it.
Going to employ the unemployed to go around army-like and kick awake anybody that is sleeping on the streets, just to make sure that they don't get a good night's sleep.
Well, it's nuts. I mean, what does she actually... Who's going to enforce that? Are they going to go around and just disassemble a tent around somebody? Are they... What are they? Take a Stanley knife to it? What are they going to do?
I would not, at this point, I would not be surprised if the plan was to set them alight.
Release a bear or something? I don't know.
Release a bear. Yeah, that's a good idea.
That'll be the next thing.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe that when you said. I thought, it's crazy. Earlier on when you were saying, am I hallucinating? Is this real life?
Mm-hmm.
I'm beginning to doubt it myself, and I'm thinking one of these days, Nick, a big giant pink rabbit's going to turn round to you and say, no, you're totally fine, Nick. And it will make sense. It's absolutely mental.
I think at some point I must have been offered a blue and a red tablet, and I took the wrong one.
As did I. That headmistress you were talking about earlier on, I've forgotten her name, Stuffy McBurblestrap or whatever her name was.
Yes.
The whole thing about that advert, she's actually completely missed the point. But I mean, she sounds Edwardian anyway, but she's missed the point entirely. She seems to be banging on about traditional values. I don't know if she's talking about kids up chimneys or whatever, but she's talking about all that kind of traditional values thing. And the point of the message that I took from it was do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
In other words, take the pressure off yourself for all the traditional stuff.
Be kind to yourself.
Yes. Take away all the pressure of the having to, but because our Christmases have become like that.
Yeah.
So it's to take it back to putting the cardboard toilet roll thing on the top of the Christmas tree that your kid made. Some years ago, I can't remember which chain it was, so I won't spout out names. One of them did a Christmas ad that did annoy me, and it was because they were saying, "Oh, don't worry, you'll not get any of these naff things from the kids this year." And it was with all the things the kids made at school that they brought home. And I thought, that's mean.
Really?
That's horrible. Yeah, they did. I'm paraphrasing, but it was like that.
Well, if I had seen that, Chrissy, I would have written a strong letter.
Well, I'll leave that to Stuffy McBurblestrap or whatever our face is, but
Stuffy McBeltstrap.
Yeah. She's got triffids in her garden that she tends to. You can just see it, can't you?
It's just incredible. I cannot believe it. It's not even December yet, and people are already complaining about Christmas.
Well, I believe in the traditional values, which for me aren't the same as hers. I don't believe in lining your children up in the morning for their morning beating and before you hand them their coal. I just want to have a nice Christmas.
That sounds like the good old days, Chrissy.
No. That's just a regular morning in Rees Mogg's house.
Is it? I would not be surprised. No.
I would not be surprised at all. It just lines them up in a row and hits them all at once. It saves time. The thing about the do what makes you happy, that isn't about selfishness. If anything, it's about selflessness. And it's very well her saying, it's about giving, not receiving. Giving's fine if you have money. The whole point of the advert was don't worry if you've not got money to spend on a big fancy tree and a big fancy this or that.
Right.
It's about enjoying yourself, and
it's not about competitive card sending. I mean, you don't have to send off 100 cards because somebody that you don't ordinarily talk to for 1 year to the next might send you a card. You know, it's actually being nice all year long. I mean, it sounds like a revolutionary concept, but why don't we try that for a while and see how it goes?
Don't be ridiculous. Now you're hallucinating. You are really hallucinating.
Yeah.
But then what would we whinge and moan about all year long?
Well, that is a good point.
What would we fight about? But the thing about Christmas cards, I haven't sent any for years because, to be honest, I can't be bothered with it.
No.
It's such a faff, and the cost of stamps is enormous.
Yeah.
So
it's a bit fake, actually. I mean, if you send a Christmas card to somebody that you talk to a lot, then I guess okay. But most people don't. They'll send a dozen or 2 dozen Christmas cards to somebody that the last time they communicated with them was in a Christmas card the previous year.
Yeah, exactly. That when in the recycling, and what I do now is I just give a flat donation to a charity every year, and then stick on social media "Merry Christmas, everybody," and put my Just Giving thing on. That look, this is what I did instead of a Christmas card. So Merry Christmas, everyone, and that's all I do every year. It's far more useful, surely, and it's much easier than sitting down writing to people that I can't even remember their names.
Exactly, yeah. And it will go to, and because they've moved since you last got in touch, it's not going to get to them anyway.
No, exactly. But at least the family it goes to can use it as fuel for the fire because they're freezing. So there's a circle of life thing going on here.
That's a beautiful thing, yeah. All right, and on that positive note, excellent work. Thanks a lot, Chrissy.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
This is absolute tosh.
Thanks, Nige. You're the best. I'd actually forgotten you existed. Thanks for the memory. On the subject of Rishi Sunak's suit and his whole clobber, which must cost a fortune. It must cost a fortune to look that cheap. I mean, it looks like he picked it up at Poundland, doesn't it? My glamorous assistant next door explains the following: skinny ties and height. Because of their narrow design, they will create the perception of a taller height when worn. Yeah, well, that would work if it weren't for the fact that he disappears when standing behind a bollard. No offence. Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, is that me you're addressing, Nick?
It sounds like you.
Hi. Yes, good morning. It's good morning. I usually say good evening, but it's really morning time.
Yeah, morning now.
Yeah. So, Nick.
Yes.
I'm thinking to just share some thoughts with you about that. The Beatles' last song. I mean, it's not such a memorable song that grabs you, when you first hear it and you can, remember a tune or whatever. But it's got lots of different musical changes in it, with
Does it?
things. So it needs listening to. But what really grabbed me about it was what the Beatles said, the ones, that's still alive who made it, what they say about it was magical. It was quite magical for them.
They made it.
It was a magical experience to be with the others,
right.
Who were like time travelling, but being there in the same frame.
Wow, you've blown my mind.
No, but I found it very moving.
Mm-hmm.
So moving to see, because when you see these celebrities, one can identify a certain way. Like if one saw parts of one's own life with loved ones who've already gone in the same frame with you, maybe 50 years ago,
right?
Or as a child, or coming back to life again, all in the same frame. I found
it sounds absolutely
moving.
terrifying. It sounds like a scene from Minority Report. Remember that movie? Yeah. Well, I'm giving you homework now, Jan. You absolutely have to watch Minority Report. It's a superb film. Promise me you'll do it.
But we don't know who directed the film, the actual, the film for the music. I mean, they concentrate a lot on the AI that was used to reproduce John Lennon's voice and isolate it from the demo tape. But there's not been much about what was the director who did the film for the video.
Oh, I haven't seen the film. I've only heard the track, and when it first came out, it was just like a blank picture while the track was playing on YouTube. But there's a film that goes with it, eh?
No, well, there's actually a 12-minute documentary. I haven't seen that yet,
really?
done by Oliver Murray, who's done things, and Peter Jackson. No, Peter Jackson was involved in the music. He's the one who did that film by the Beatles that you mentioned.
Get Back, yeah. It's an amazing thing. And it doesn't sound like something that anybody would want to watch. It's 8 hours long of just some guys sitting in a studio trying to, magic some songs out the air. But it's riveting.
But I just think it's not fair to not mention the name of the director of who did the the film.
Well, maybe it was Peter Jackson.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm wondering. But they're not acknowledging who did it, because I thought it was done. It was so. I found it very moving as well to see, those heroes of the '60s.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, very young, seeing that. Reliving certain things. I mean, it was great, but there again, I'll leave that alone for a moment. Unless, but I just think, the AI. I don't know whether they use the AI to do all that, time traveling stuff. Or it's really moving to see an image of them and animated. Yeah. With their earlier self 50 years ago.
Right. Well, I'll have to look it up on the World Wide Wait.
Oh no, you haven't seen it. So you've got to. It's on YouTube. It's free on YouTube. But there again, I also looked at what you mentioned. This the Rolling Stones new album.
Yeah.
Is it called Hackney Diamonds?
Of course.
Oh yeah, that's it. I started watching that. I have to go back and watch the rest of it. But
watch it. What do you mean, watch it?
Oh, well, am I accessing different formats to you?
What are you watching?
Film. The video.
There's a video?
Oh yeah. I just
of the album?
Yeah, there's an album. The video of it. It's all. Well, I tend to go to YouTube to just do a search and it comes up. So it was
the whole album.
Yeah.
You're joking. There's a video of the whole of the Rolling Stones album.
Hackney Diamonds is I saw the visuals. I thought that was what you were referring to, the film.
I have not. I didn't even know such a thing existed. I saw a.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's amazing.
No, it's sort of really. It's wonderful.
Well, that is the thing that I wanted from that. I thought that's the thing that is missing from this album is a video of them actually recording it, and it exists.
I thought you were referring to it.
Holy moly! Now I have extra homework to do.
No, you'll love it. The visuals are great. It's so.
Well, what is it? What is it that you're looking at? What are the visuals? Is it them live on stage?
They're also interviewing. They're interviewing Mick Jagger and the rest.
Right, but are they playing? Are they playing the music on this video that you're describing?
Yes, they're playing tracks, but it's also interviewing.
Okay,
them now.
Well, it's news to me. I'll look it up. Thanks for the swerve. Cheers, Jan. My glamorous assistant next door saying. Liar! You're disagreeing,
or at least I can't find it. I've had a pretty good look.
Yeah, there is one thing that I found that is very much worth looking up. When the album came out, they did they played a small show in New York in I can't remember some club, absolutely microscopically small club, and the only thing that I have seen. The only track that I've seen, they did about 5 songs, I think 2 of which came from the album, and they did the Sweet Sounds of Heaven, I think is the track that they did with Lady Gaga, and the band is doing the thing, and then Lady Gaga actually comes out and does her thing as it was on the record, and the crowd goes, well, their brains just explode with pleasure, and it's a wonderful thing, it really is. So the Racket Club, that's it. Yeah, they played the Racket Club in New York, and I guess that all of it is available somewhere, but the only thing that I've seen is them doing that song with Lady Gaga. Really worth digging up. It won't take you very long, I would imagine. Just put it in the internet. Have you seen the internet?
Disgusting.
Oh, the stuff you'll find on there. I recommend that. Thanks a lot, Jan. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Jennifer says, I love John Lennon's demo of Now and Then, so felt a bit sad that they ditched his middle eight. Plus, what's the orchestra doing there? But lovely song. I wonder what Melania thinks. Melania? Well, she's not remotely bothered.
I don't care.
She's too busy tweeting the judge in Donald Trump's fraud case. Give him time.
Oh, shut up!
Yeah, put him inside. Fit him with an orange jumpsuit. God, can you imagine? Wouldn't suit him at all. Overdose on tangerines. Harrow, Jonathan.
Good evening, Nick.
Yes, Jonathan.
I had a serious point to make about the politics of this country, but can I make the jovial point first?
Jovial?
Because I'm wanting to distract myself from my economic downturn.
Yes.
It's not going well. And I've been listening to that Beatles track.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching the video on repeat very loudly.
Mm-hmm. And how are the neighbours taking that?
It's not going well with them.
Not going
also.
well, no. Oi, keep that racket down, like that.
But have you seen the video?
No.
You keep talking about the Rolling Stones.
Yes.
You were talking about the Rolling Stones with that, I think, no offence, with the elderly lady Lulu who said she'd broken her leg dancing tonight.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't think people of that age should be going clubbing, actually.
No, I don't. It's just flat out embarrassing. That's right.
I think so. She said she was...
Plus, the NHS is under enough strain as it is.
So, you prefer the Rolling Stone to the Beatles?
Well, it depends. It depends.
It made me so emotional.
Oh, yes.
It is. I've been listening to the track on the YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And the video, it is. Have you not even listened to it?
I've heard it through once. It didn't make me emotional, but you've got emotional? Really?
It reminds me of a time better than the wokey-cokey world we live in now.
Oh, yeah.
Okie dokie.
The wokey-cokey. Mm-hmm.
Because, no offence, London has become the toilet of the England. It has. And no offence.
No offence. That's right. Well, you wouldn't want to give offence. No, the toilet of England, you say, yes?
Because I will tell you something honest. I want to touch on the Catherine Bubble thingy, but I voted for the Boris last time, yes?
So it's your fault. Yeah, thanks a lot, mate.
But one of the problems now is that this country now, I was listening to a few of your lefty wokey callers, and
yes.
at the same time, I was on the Daily Mail website.
Well, you don't want to go too far to the left. No, so you were balancing by looking at the Daily Mail website while you were listening to my wokey-cokey callers.
Okie dokie.
Yes.
And Nadine Dorris has written a book about rabbits being killed and enforcers in the Tory party, not nice people.
No.
And they even sounded slightly, your wokey caller sounded even slightly less appealing than them.
Really?
And
less appealing than a bunny boiler. Right.
I mean, literally, they call this guy the enforcer, and there's all sorts of, Tory grandees with court cases and all of this. But I've suffered for not voting for Corbyn, because I told you he was a bit scruffy. He was like that steptoe fellow.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I have been decimated financially, and I'm very stressed because I'm waiting for my visa to get to Philadelphia on holiday.
You're waiting for your what now?
Dropped it again. Waiting for a visa to get to Philadelphia. I want to go on holiday for...
You're waiting for a what now?
A travel permit.
Oh, right. A visa.
Yeah.
Visa, right, okay.
So I'm struggling financially, but I want a little break, holiday.
Yeah.
And with this...
first class 5-star break because, you've got to put your financial worries behind you. I understand.
I can't afford first class anymore. But the thing is that with this M&S advert you're talking about, I was listening to your other presenters talking about it. It's like, is it like Christmas crackers being burnt and thingies?
Yeah, I think they execute Santa Claus right at the end of it, yeah.
Because Catherine Barbel Singh, believe it or not, I used to be good in the business world, and I had dealings with her, and I think people like her, they stand up for the discipline, you know? Because the problem nowadays, like a lot of your walkie callers, I think a lot of them have an issue with Rishi Sunak. Not you, because you're lovely.
Yes.
But I think a lot of them have an issue with Rishi Sunak, like that old lady who'd broken her leg dancing, because they don't like a powerful brown man in positions of power. And Catherine Barbel Singh, she is going against the indiscipline, because I will tell you this much, even though I'm struggling financially, I would rather have strong disciplinarians than what's happening. Because just to end quickly, if I may, I told you I got choked at the boxing gym.
You got what now?
Choked at the boxing gym.
You got choked at the boxing gym. Is that why you went?
No, I went to try and become fat and bald.
Wait a minute. Wait. You went to the boxing gym to try to become fat and bald?
No, I'm obese.
Oh, because you are fat.
I'm looking as charisma-less as Keir Starmer nowadays. You know, dull.
Dull, right.
Yeah. And can I just end by saying, because when I got
please do end. Anytime you like. Go ahead.
We need, I know your walkie callers won't like it, but we need disciplinarians, because the man who gave me a lift from the boxing gym, he was a white van man, and he said he had some drug offences, but he was driving sober, and he said that he thinks the Chinese apps on our phones are making our children homosexual.
Well, that's certainly true. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just need to resist.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Okay. I think you're fresh out of material. Excellent work. Good work there, Jonathan. Making perfect sense. More discipline. And fewer Chinese apps. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @lbc. You know, I do a best of podcast that normally is clips of old shows, but I think there's been a couple of calls tonight that I'm going to think seriously about sticking up the new episode that is going to be coming out on Monday.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Come on, we're running late.
We are running late. 0345 6060 973. Linda says your bed bugs might be... your ladybirds might be bed bugs disguised as ladybirds.
Oh, no.
Well, that is a possibility, yes. Tom says, I think Teslas are the worst-looking car on the road. Not quite. There's one car that I can't remember what it's called, but it looks... I think Jeremy Clarkson famously said it looks as though it was designed by two teams, neither of which were in contact with each other. And the top of the car is completely different to the bottom of the car, and it's just beyond hideous. It looks like a child had been tasked with drawing a really, really ugly car, and they built it. But I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, Teslas are bad-looking cars. There's no doubt about it. They all look like cabs. I mean, I was in a Tesla that was a cab the other day. It's the first time I've ever been in one of those things. But most aren't cabs. Cabs are those Honda Accords, or whatever you call them, those electric Honda things. And I don't believe anybody has ever bought one of those that is not a cab driver. Why Tesla would design their cars to look like those Honda cabs is a mystery to me. Why would anybody spend 70... I mean, some of them are more expensive than that, aren't they? So, but let's say 70 grand. Why would you spend £70,000 to look like a cab driver? But anyway, Tom says, I think Teslas are the worst-looking car on the road. I question myself what type of person would want such an ugly machine. They look worse than a washing machine with four wheels. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And they're pretty nondescript inside. Ugly on the outside and really, really boring on the inside. But the seats are fabulous. In the back, anyway. I haven't been in the front. But in the back, it took me about 2 seconds to realise that I was sitting on the most exquisitely comfortable seats. I thought, my buttocks are really getting a treat, I thought. Ipswich, hello, Emma.
Sorry. I was laughing at your buttocks.
Oh, thanks very much.
Hello, darling. Right, can I say I'm so happy for you that you watched the M&S advert with such innocence.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Because initially, I woke up, I stumbled into the kitchen. Obviously, LBC is on, obviously. I'm making a cup of tea, and the drama. I was with your glamorous assistant. They're always glamorous. And not getting... My poor mum is so stressed that I'm going wrong on the abnormal normal show. But originally, the argument was that there was a red, a white, and a green hat burning in the fire.
Right.
AKA a certain flag. So I went onto YouTube. So I went onto YouTube, trying to find what on the earth was going on, trying to see the advert.
I missed that bit. So there's a red, white, and green. Well, as in...
Oh, yeah, that's been cut. Oh, that's been cut. So James O'Brien and Nick Ferrari has been talking about it. James O'Brien has been talking about it.
Really? I missed all of this. I just watched it completely innocently. I thought, well, that's that's quite pleasant, and forgot about it almost the second that it finished.
Do you know what? Because that's called life. That's called real life. So I wanted to see what was going on. So I put into YouTube.
Yeah.
And the whole list came up. Shall I? Yeah. So I got lots of videos going on about this, and each one of them were about 20 minutes long. Shall I give you the names that started?
Well,
we had no. You're fine. You really are fine.
Okay.
We had Mike Graham, Katie Hopkins, and Jim Davidson.
Oh my God!
Talking about ruining Christmas.
Right. Well, as long as they're all in the same place at the same time, then they're more easily avoided.
We're brilliant.
Yeah.
We're brilliant. Yes. Apparently, we're all disgraceful. And to be fair, you're disgraceful anyway because you have your dinner. No, you are, darling. You have your Christmas dinner about 4 years in advance.
Oh.
And probably pizza.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah, but they were absolutely going off their trees about the fact that they're burning Christmas cards. They've thrown the charades out. The board games are in the fish tank. Elf the Shelf has been knocked into next door's garden. Honestly.
These people. I mean, really.
Yeah. Really.
They're just always on the lookout for something to be pretend furious about. Not actually furious, pretend furious.
Pretend. And the thing is, they actually accuse the wokerati, the wokey-cokey, of overthinking. Overthinking.
Well, that's not anything that they personally have been accused of. No. All right. Thanks for the good news, Emma. Cheers. M&S, this... Oh, God. Here we go. I cannot believe it. This is a day ago. Is that a day ago, or
Yes.
Previous to midnight, perhaps?
Yes,
is that what they mean?
Yes.
I dislike that when a news organisation says it's a day ago or this happened 3 days ago. Just put a blooming date on it, for crying out loud. I hate that as much as... I know hate's a strong word, but it's not strong enough. I hate it when newspapers put a headline and it's a question. Is this the worst thing that has ever happened to a human being? Well, I don't blooming know. You're the journalist. You tell me. Anyway, here's the story. M&S has apologised after being accused of posting an Instagram photo of a Christmas party hat in the colours of the Palestinian flag on fire. The image, an outtake from one of the company's TV adverts, showed red, green and silver hats burning in a fireplace. M&S said the intent was to playfully show that some people don't enjoy wearing paper Christmas hats. The weird thing about a paper Christmas hat, even if it's open at the top, God, it makes your head hot, doesn't it? Why is that? It's just paper, and it's not covered, which makes you think that a chef's hat, which is made of thick cotton and has got a cover on it, I mean, no wonder they're all so blooming furious, chefs. Their brains are boiling. But anyway. M&S has M&S has apologised. I mean, good grief.
I am very sorry that I screwed up. Totally I mean, I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I read about it. I'm sorry I watched the ad in the first place, and I'm sorry I missed that the whole nation was infuriated. That's a pretty good place to end, isn't it, really? I can't stand it anymore. Right, that's it. I'm leaving. All 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 right, that's